4 nutrients that are must-haves for brain development and how they help? What if those little lapses in memory are not simply age knocking on the door, but your brain quietly asking for 4 missing building blocks? What if giving your neurons the right raw materials could help you hold on to names, follow conversations more easily, and even slow the brain changes that worry so many of us as we get older? Stay with me, because by the end of this video you will know exactly which 4 nutrients matter most, how they help, where to find them in real food, what labs to ask your doctor about, and how to build a simple month-long plan to feed your future brain. You know the feeling. You walk into a room and forget why. The word you want sits just out of reach. You put the keys down and then spend 10 minutes retracing your steps. You tell yourself it is normal, and yes, some change is expected with age. But beneath those everyday frustrations lives a deeper fear. Is this just aging, or is something more serious beginning? Here is the truth we rarely hear. Many older adults run low on the exact nutrients the brain needs to maintain its wiring, make neurotransmitters, and repair worn parts. We try puzzles, new phone apps, even more coffee. But if the hardware is underfueled, the brain cannot perform at its best. The hopeful twist is that some of these gaps are fixable. In specific groups, clinical studies have shown meaningful differences in memory and even brain structure when deficiencies are corrected. Tonight is about practical steps that respect the science and your lived experience. Your brain is not only a thinking machine. It is living tissue that needs certain ingredients to stay flexible, to speak clearly from cell to cell, and to repair itself after daily wear and tear. 4 nutrients stand out again and again in aging and brain research. Omega-3s, especially DHA and EPA, which help build the outer membranes of brain cells and calm inflammation. The B vitamin trio of B12, folate, and B6, which keeps homocysteine in check and supports the brain's methylation and myelin systems. Choline, the backbone for the memory messenger acetylcholine and a major brick in new cell membranes. And vitamin D, the sunlight signal that touches hundreds of genes in the brain and helps balance neuroimmune function. We will go one by one with stories, simple food swaps, clear supplement guidance to discuss with your clinician, and specific lab tests that turn guesswork into a plan. Nutrient 1: Omega-3s, DHA and EPA. Picture your neurons as tiny microphones trying to catch a whisper across a crowded room. The flexibility of the membrane around each neuron is what lets that whisper come through clean instead of muffled. DHA is the fatty acid that keeps those membranes fluid. EPA supports a healthy inflammatory balance and helps blood flow in the brain. With age, our ability to make DHA and EPA from plant omega-3s falls, which is why direct sources can become increasingly important. So what does the science say? In a randomized controlled trial of older adults with age-related cognitive complaints, a daily dose of 900 milligrams of DHA improved memory and learning compared with placebo. This trial was led by Yurko Maro and colleagues and published in Alzheimer's and Dementia in 2010. Observational studies have long linked regular fish intake with a lower risk of Alzheimer's disease. A well-known study by Martha Claire Morris and colleagues in JAMA in 2003 found that older adults who ate fish at least once a week had a lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease compared with those who rarely ate fish. Now here is the nuance. When researchers gave DHA to people with established Alzheimer's disease, results were mixed or neutral in many trials, such as work by Quinn and colleagues in JAMA in 2010. That pattern suggests that omega-3s may help most when started earlier or in those with low intake or higher risk. Large trials like MAPT, published in Lancet Neurology in 2017, also point to modest but meaningful benefits in selected at-risk older adults, especially when omega-3s are combined with lifestyle support like physical activity and cognitive training. Now let's bring this into your kitchen. If you enjoy seafood, aim for 2 to 3 servings a week of salmon, trout, sardines, herring, or mackerel. Canned salmon and sardines are budget-friendly, shelf-stable, and require no fancy cooking. If you do not eat fish, consider an algal oil supplement that provides DHA directly from marine algae. Many seniors do well with 500 to 1,000 milligrams per day of combined EPA and DHA, but dosage varies, so discuss this with your clinician. If you love feedback and want to personalize your plan, Ask your healthcare provider about an omega-3 index blood test. An index of 8% or higher is often considered a favorable target. Most people can move their level into a healthier range within 8 to 12 weeks of steady intake. A quick safety note. If you are on blood thinners or have a bleeding disorder, check with your doctor before starting fish oil. Higher doses can slightly increase bleeding time. Choose products that are third-party tested for purity to avoid contaminants. For your first quick win, pick one midweek meal and declare it fish on Wednesday. A simple plate of baked salmon or a salad topped with canned sardines can set the tone for your week. If flaxseed is part of your routine, keep it for fiber and heart health. But remember that conversion from ALA in flax to DHA is limited, especially as we age. Your brain prefers the finished product. Retention pause for a 30-second check-in. True or false? Flaxseed alone is a reliable way to raise DHA in the brain. Mostly false. Flax is excellent for many reasons, but for brain DHA, direct sources like fish or algal oil work better. If you got that right, you are already thinking like a brain builder. Nutrient 2: the B vitamin trio, B12, folate, and B6. Let me tell you a story. A grandfather sits at the kitchen table reading a birthday card from his granddaughter. He knows the words, but somehow the meaning floats and fades. He notices he has been more tired, a bit numb in his toes, and his memory feels less anchored than it used to be. His doctor checks his B12 level and a companion marker called methylmalonic acid, and they discover a deficiency. Within weeks of correcting it, the fog begins to lift. This is not a rare story. As we age, we absorb less B12 from food. Common medications such as metformin for diabetes and acid-suppressing drugs for reflux can reduce B12 absorption even further. Folate and B6 partner with B12 to recycle homocysteine, a sulfur-containing amino acid. When homocysteine climbs, it is associated with faster brain atrophy and cognitive decline in older adults. Here is where the research gets exciting. In the VitaCog study led by David Smith and colleagues, older adults with mild cognitive impairment received high-dose B vitamins to lower homocysteine. Published in PLOS 1 in 2010 and followed by clinical outcomes in the Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery, and Psychiatry in 2012, the group taking B vitamins had significantly slower brain atrophy on MRI and better cognitive outcomes compared with placebo. The benefit was strongest in those who started out with higher homocysteine. Later analyses, such as Jernerin and colleagues in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2015, showed that the effect of B vitamins may be even greater when omega-3 status is adequate. That is a practical lesson. Nutrients often work as a team. What do you do with this information? Ask your clinician to check vitamin B12, methylmalonic acid for accuracy, folate, and homocysteine. Many clinicians aim to keep homocysteine below 10 micromoles per liter, although individual targets vary. If B12 is low, foods like fish, eggs, dairy, and poultry can help. Vegetarians and vegans almost always need a B12 supplement because plant foods do not supply meaningful B12. A common strategy is 500 to 1,000 micrograms per day of B12 as cyanocobalamin or methylcobalamin, adjusted based on your lab results. If folate is low, greens like spinach, kale, asparagus, avocado, and beans are your friends. Folate supplements in the range of 400 to 800 micrograms per day are typical, but here is a vital safety point. Do not take high-dose folate if your B12 is low, because folate can correct the blood changes while leaving the neurological damage of B12 deficiency unchecked. B6 is important too, but more is not always better. Aim near the recommended intake, roughly 1.5 to 1.7 milligrams per day for older adults, and avoid long-term high doses above about 50 milligrams per day, which can rarely cause nerve problems. If you take metformin or proton pump inhibitors for reflux, write a note to ask your doctor whether you should check B12 and methylmalonic acid annually. A simple breakfast idea can make this real. 2 eggs sautéed with a handful of spinach and a side of berries fits all 3 B vitamins into a delicious plate. Within a month or 2 of corrective steps, many people see homocysteine drop and energy or attention improve. That kind of feedback builds confidence and momentum. Retention moment. If your homocysteine is high, Are B vitamins likely to help? In many older adults, the answer is yes, especially if you have mild cognitive impairment or documented deficiency. In the VitaCog studies, lowering homocysteine with B12, folate, and B6 slowed brain shrinkage on MRI. That is not hype. That is anatomy measured over time. Nutrient 3 choline. Think of choline as both the brick and the messenger in your memory system. Your brain uses choline to make acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter that helps you focus, learn, and retrieve names. Choline is also the backbone of phosphatidylcholine, a major component of cell membranes. Without enough choline, it is harder to build and repair the literal structure of your brain. Many adults fall short of the adequate intake. For men, that is about 550 milligrams per day. For women, about 425 milligrams per day. The good news is that choline-rich foods are familiar and comforting. 2 eggs provide roughly 250 to 300 milligrams of choline, and egg yolks are especially rich. Other helpful foods include salmon, shrimp, turkey, soybeans, chickpeas, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli. For some older adults, especially those with vascular issues or attention and recall complaints, choline donors used in research may offer additional support. Ceticholine, also called CDP choline, has been studied in post-stroke recovery and age-related cognitive changes with a generally good safety profile. A Cochrane review by Fioravanti and Buckley in 2006 examined ceticholine in older adults and found signals of benefit in cognition and behavior, although study quality varied. Later work such as a review by Grebe in Neuropsychiatric Disease and Treatment in 2015 discussed ceticholine as a neuroprotective agent in several contexts. Alpha-GPC is another choline donor that has shown modest improvements in attention and memory in some small trials. These are not cures for dementia, but they can be supportive in the right situations. Practical guidance is straightforward. Start by meeting your daily choline needs with food. If you avoid eggs or struggle to reach the target, speak with your clinician about a time-limited trial of ceticholine, often 250 to 500 milligrams once or twice per day in studies, or alpha-GPC in the range of 300 to 600 milligrams per day. If you are taking medications for cognition that affect acetylcholine, such as donepezil or rivastigmine, discuss choline supplements with your doctor to ensure your plan is coordinated. Some people worry about a compound called TMAO that can rise after eating choline-rich foods. The strongest TMAO boosts often come from red meat. Fish can raise TMAO acutely yet is associated with better heart outcomes overall. If you have significant cardiovascular disease, this is a good conversation to have with your clinician so your whole picture is considered. Here is a simple way to begin this week. Make a veggie omelet with 2 eggs and a side of sliced tomatoes and whole grain toast 2 or 3 mornings. On other days, add chickpeas or edamame to a salad. After a few weeks of consistent intake, many people notice an easier time pulling words to the surface and staying focused through conversations. It is not a miracle. It is fuel. Quick interaction to keep your brain engaged. What makes choline unique compared to many vitamins? Answer. Your body needs choline both to make a key neurotransmitter for memory and to build the membranes of new and existing brain cells. It is both signal and structure. Nutrient 4 vitamin D. Open the blinds in a quiet kitchen on a winter morning and feel how the room changes when the light arrives. Vitamin D has a similar quiet influence in the brain. Vitamin D receptors are found throughout brain tissue. Vitamin D helps regulate genes involved in growth, neuroimmune balance, and inflammation. Low vitamin D is common in seniors, especially in northern climates, in those with darker skin, in people who spend little time outdoors, and in those with higher body weight. What does the evidence say? Observational studies consistently link low vitamin D levels with higher risk of cognitive decline and dementia. A 2014 study by Littlejohns and colleagues in neurology reported that older adults with severe vitamin D deficiency had a significantly higher risk of developing dementia compared with those with adequate levels. Trials of vitamin D supplementation to improve cognition show mixed results overall. The most reasonable interpretation is this. Correcting deficiency is wise for bone, muscle, immunity, and likely supports brain health, But vitamin D is not a standalone cure for memory loss. It is one important piece of a larger puzzle. Action steps are simple. Ask your clinician for a 25-hydroxyvitamin D blood test. Many providers aim for levels in the range of 30 to 50 nanograms per milliliter, though targets can vary by individual. A common supplement dose for older adults is 800 to 2,000 international units of vitamin D3 per day, adjusted based on your lab result. Food sources include fatty fish, fortified dairy or plant milks, egg yolks, and mushrooms exposed to ultraviolet light. If you have kidney disease, sarcoidosis, or are on certain medications like thiazide diuretics, get personalized guidance before supplementing. Avoid megadoses unless they are prescribed and monitored. An easy habit to add is morning light. A gentle 10 to 20-minute walk soon after sunrise not only supports your vitamin D status when the season allows, but even in winter it helps set your body clock, which can improve sleep and mood. Better sleep itself is a gift to your memory. If you start vitamin D today, put a reminder to recheck your level in about 8 to 12 weeks. Seeing the number move into a healthier range is motivating and keeps your plan safe. Bringing it all together, your 30-day brain builder plan. Let's turn ideas into a rhythm you can live with. The goal is not perfection. The goal is steady practice that nourishes your brain's structure and function. For the first week, establish your baseline. Make a short appointment list that includes tests for vitamin B12, methylmalonic acid, folate, homocysteine, 25-hydroxyvitamin D, and if available, an omega-3 index. If you already have recent labs, write them down so you can see where you are starting. Shop with intention. Put 2 or 3 cans of salmon or sardines in your cart. Pick up a dozen eggs, a large bag of spinach or kale, a couple of avocados, a carton of berries, dried or canned chickpeas, and a fortified milk you enjoy. Aim to get outside for a brief morning walk on most days. In week 2, lock in your omega-3 routine and attend to B vitamins. Place one seafood meal early in the week and one later on, so it does not get lost. If your diet is low in fish and your clinician agrees, consider adding a daily omega-3 supplement that provides around 1,000 milligrams of EPA plus DHA. If your B12 is low or you take metformin or a reflux medicine, begin the B12 plan your clinician recommends, often 500 to 1,000 micrograms per day, and set a reminder to recheck your levels in a couple of months. In week 3, bring choline to the forefront. Aim to reach 425 to 550 milligrams of choline per day by building your breakfasts and lunches around eggs, fish, soybeans, or chickpeas. If focus and word finding are big concerns and your clinician agrees, you might test a 6 to 12-week trial of ceticoline. Keep a small notebook where you rate your memory and attention each week on a simple 1 to 10 scale. Noticing small gains helps you stay committed. In week 4, review vitamin D and your overall pattern. If your 25-hydroxyvitamin D was low, follow the supplement plan and mark your calendar to recheck your level. Step back and ask yourself what felt easiest and what needs a tweak. Are names coming to you a beat faster? Do you feel less mental fatigue in the afternoon? Are you missing fewer appointments or lists? Small wins are real wins. Along the way, avoid a few common mistakes. Do not rely on flax seeds alone to raise DHA. Enjoy flax for fiber and heart health, but your brain needs direct DHA and EPA. Do not take folate without knowing your B12 status, because folate can mask the blood signs of B12 deficiency while nerve injury continues. Do not megadose any vitamin without a clear reason. More is not always better. Dose to need and let your labs guide you. A word about evidence and expectations. Let's be honest and hopeful at the same time. Nutrition is powerful, but it is not magic. In people who already have a diagnosis of dementia, supplements alone rarely move the needle much. Where the science is most encouraging is in prevention and in older adults with early concerns or documented nutrient shortfalls. The DHA trial by Yurko Maro and colleagues helped older adults with age-related cognitive decline improve memory and learning. The VitaCog studies showed that lowering homocysteine with B vitamins slowed brain shrinkage in mild cognitive impairment. The Framingham Offspring Analysis by Polly and colleagues in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2011 linked higher choline intake with better cognitive performance and fewer white matter changes on MRI. Observational work by Littlejohns and colleagues associated low vitamin D with higher dementia risk, and while supplementation trials are mixed, correcting deficiency is sensible for many reasons. There are also interesting broader signals. In a large trial called Cosmos Mind, a daily multivitamin improved global cognition compared with placebo in older adults, while cocoa extract did not. That suggests that shoring up multiple small nutrient gaps may add up in meaningful ways for some people. This is not a license to take everything on the shelf, but it is a reminder that the brain is a living organ with needs that deserve attention. Let's make this delicious. Imagine a Sunday brunch of a warm spinach and mushroom omelet with 2 eggs, a side of smoked trout or a scoop of cottage cheese, and a bowl of blueberries. That single meal touches choline, B12, omega-3, and antioxidant-rich berries. Picture a Tuesday dinner of baked salmon with a squeeze of lemon, a spoonful of olive oil, and a side of garlicky kale and roasted sweet potatoes. On Thursday, a simple chickpea salad with tomatoes, cucumbers, red onion, and a light vinaigrette brings folate, choline, and fiber together. Keep a carton of vitamin D fortified milk or plant milk at the front of your refrigerator so you see it every morning. These are not exotic foods. They are simple pleasures that feed your brain. Medication interactions and safety. If you take warfarin or other blood thinners, or if you have a bleeding disorder, review omega-3 supplements with your clinician before starting. If you take metformin or a proton pump inhibitor, you are at higher risk of B12 deficiency, so ask for regular monitoring. If you have kidney disease, sarcoidosis, or take thiazide diuretics, get guidance before starting vitamin D. If you are on acetylcholinesterase inhibitors for cognitive symptoms, coordinate any choline donor supplements with your doctor. If you have a history of neuropathy, avoid high-dose B6 and stay near the recommended intake. Personalization keeps you safe and effective. Let's do a fast check-in you can repeat each month. First, recall test. Name as many animals as you can in 60 seconds. Write the number down. Second, name learning. Pick 3 unrelated words like tulip, wallet, and bluebird. Say them out loud, then set a timer for 5 minutes and try to recall them. Third, energy check. On a scale of 1 to 10, how steady does your mental energy feel between breakfast and lunch? Keep these notes in a small notebook. If your numbers improve over a month, that is a clue you are on the right track. If not, you still have data to adjust your plan. What if I do not like fish? Try canned salmon cakes with a little egg and breadcrumbs, baked until crisp. Or choose an algal oil DHA supplement after talking to your clinician. What if I am vegetarian? Focus on B12 through supplements, choline through eggs if you eat them or soybeans if you do not, and consider algal DHA. What if my labs are normal? Fantastic! Stay consistent with food first and revisit labs annually or sooner if symptoms change. What if I have a tight budget? Canned salmon, sardines, eggs, beans, frozen greens, and fortified milk are all friendly to the wallet and powerful for the brain. You have lived through a lot. You have raised families, built careers, faced loss, and kept going. Your brain has carried your stories for decades. It deserves care that is both tender and strategic. Food is not just fuel. It is a way to say to your future self, I am looking out for you. Maybe that means taking a short walk in the morning sun. Maybe it means making a shopping list on Sunday. Maybe it means calling your doctor to ask for a B12 and vitamin D check. Each choice is a vote for the long view. If this conversation gave you a little more hope and a practical path, I would love to keep walking with you. Subscribe so you do not miss new videos that turn complex science into simple steps you can use. Share this with a friend or a family member who might be worrying in silence. And when you are ready for the next step, watch the video on 7 daily habits that calm brain inflammation after 60. In it, we connect food, sleep, movement, and stress tools to protect the cells that keep your mind clear. If you could change just one breakfast for the next 30 days to feed your future brain, what would you add and why? Tell me in the comments. I will be reading every one, and I will choose a comment to receive a personalized brain builder checklist based on the ideas we covered today. Important note: this video is educational. It is not personal medical advice. Work with your healthcare provider to tailor these ideas to your needs, especially if you take medications or have chronic conditions. When possible, use lab tests to guide your plans so you can be both safe and effective.